Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm, of course, your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to do better when you're not doing so well. As we all know, everybody has their bad streak in Blitz. Yesterday was a pretty bad streak for me. I decided to play with a platoon mate in my clan, and, well, it turned out that after about 15 or so games in my T110 E3 that I was trying to mend my stats in from the video that I had done the day before. Well, it actually got worse, and I was sitting at about 42% with 2,000 average damage. And that's really, really low for me. I'm usually trying to at least average 3,000 on a bad day. Like, I'm trying to average minimum 3,000 with, like, 60-ish% win rate. And, yeah, when you're sitting at, like, 15 games for 42% and 2,000, that was not a good feeling. And you can imagine I wasn't too happy at that day. But one thing that I always say, and this is a motto that I would highly suggest for anybody out there, if you're struggling, let's say one day you're just having a really bad streak, and you're thinking that, okay, I'm just going to quit. There's no point to continue playing. Well, if you quit, let's say you're 42% at this moment, right? Let's say you're at my E3 level, and you're a 55% player that can usually for 30 days get about 60% with 2,600 average damage on your tier 10s. Well, if you decide to quit at 40% win rate and 2,000 average damage, that's not going to go well for your 30-day stats. It's going to drop them quite a bit. So the question is, would you rather just quit playing or try at least to bring them up, take maybe an hour break or something, and then try and bring your stats back up? Because you always can bring stats back up. That's one thing I always say. If you're doing awful, it's very easy to bring your statistics back up because you can't do worse than awful. There was one game where a Hori, I remember, literally turned his tank to the side. I completely missed a full-on side Hori, fully aimed in. He turned his tank to the side and snapped me in the cupola and managed to back up. And I got so angry from that game, I about quit. But, the thing is that there's no reason to quit. If you're doing bad, like there was a moment when I was probably 30% in there, but I kept playing. And even after I ate lunch, I came back and I continued playing. And well, if you go look at my replays, I played the E3 quite a bit. I played it a lot, in fact. There's when I made my SU-101 video, and then it's back to the E3, and the E3, and the E3, and the E3. I played it about 30 games in total. These were the games here that I did bad, made my T28 HTC video, and then I went back to playing the E3, and it actually went quite decent. Now, I didn't get the stats ridiculously high. I got the stats to about, I would say, like 58% win rate. I was so close getting 60. It was at 59.29, and I needed one more win, and the team fell apart so bad. Now, granted, it was like a 3,500 damage game, which isn't bad. I did manage to bring the average damage from about 2,000-ish up to 3,000. I managed to break the 3,000 barrier, which I was happy on. That was something that really made me happy. And bringing the win rate from 42% to 58 was good enough for me. Yeah, it's been a pain, and I can definitely say that the teams have really been a pain. And this was the battle that I was very tempted to make a video on, just alone, which I'll add it in here because it's only about a 2-minute battle. You're going to see what makes no sense. So, this game here, and by the way, this is a good player in the enemy team. This is an MM player. Well, definitely overpeaked there a little bit, but that's not much of the worry. Just saying that the enemy team has one decent player that I know of. I don't know much of the other clans or anything like that. So right now, I mean, this MM player just kind of holding, trying to do our thing while this is going here. And it's been about 30 seconds into the game. You can see my mediums are off to the side over there. We got the Bat Chat, we got the STB. Those are two very strong tanks. Our T57's managed to bleed a little bit, but the enemy team's bleeding. I mean, this 2 and 5 are having an HE spamming battle. He shot an HE at me, so I'm like, I got HE too. The great thing about the HE on an E3 is that 2 and 5B there is using Spalliner, or whatever it is, reductive armor, but HE negates it because it's HE, so I can just spam HE at him all day, and it's going to ignore his armor. So we've taken off about 1,200 hit points from that 2 and 5B. He's not liking me too much. At this moment, our Mark 6, though, what the heck is he doing? What the heck? So our Mark 6 is already, like, dying, and I'm watching here. I watched that 2 and 5B get absolutely slapped. So I'm like, okay, the 2 and 5B just got hit for 922. This isn't going too bad. We got our mediums off to the side still. They're doing their jobs, or not. I'm hoping that they are. And then I see this IS-4, so I'm like, what the heck? So right now, you can imagine, this game's not going great. It's been about a minute and 20 seconds into this battle, and about a minute since I started driving, and it's already looking awful. My 57 Heavy's dead. My Chieftain Mark 6 is about to be dead. And even though that Foch shot an HE at the side of the AMX for no apparent reason, he's going to be dead. Our mediums aren't doing anything. I don't really know. I was hoping that they would. Actually, no, I take it back. That Bat Chat did a decent job, but just How? How is this possible? I didn't understand it at all. And these are some of the games that really do get people annoyed, especially me, because I just don't get how we lost so quickly. It actually didn't make sense to me. It's a 2 minutes into the, not even 2 minutes, a minute and 50 seconds into this game, and already our team's lost, which is incredible to me. Because I don't understand how a team dies this quick. You can see here, like, the mediums did a decent job. Our heavies did such a bad job just holding the line that we managed to lose this quickly. It's actually incredible to me sometimes how quick you can lose a battle. And that's obviously what got me quite annoyed, because when you lose a game like that, you're doing 2,000 damage, and it's a defeat. And this is what most of my games were like sometimes. There was one on Port Bay where I had to go chase down a grill, shot the grill with an HE for 1,000. I come back, and the team's already lost that entire flank. And it's annoying. It's very annoying when battles like this happen. And it's not even sometimes the good players that get you killed. Like, granted, this is a good MM player. You know, MM's a very respectable clan. He's got a great win rate. But he wasn't even the reason why we lost completely. So it makes no sense sometimes why you can lose. You usually think that it's the good player that's absolutely smacking you. But sometimes it doesn't even need to be the good player. Sometimes it's just your players doing such a bad job that they end up getting your whole team killed. So I don't know what to say about that. That is something that you never can really fix. There was nothing I could have done in any singular power in my E3, or probably any tank at that matter, to win that game. And that's one thing that you really can't change. But one thing you can change is the next battle. Every game you play, there's usually at least a 20-ish% sway you can put on it if you're a good enough player, which is good. That means that if you're running a vehicle like the E3 and you're holding hull down, you're holding a big portion, yes, a big portion of the map. So if you're holding that map, all you have to do is hope that your team does the rest of the work for you. Now, of course, that's hoping that your team does the rest of the work, but yeah, that's what Blitz is down to. You have to rely on your team because it's a team-based game. Even though you make up about 15% of your team, you still need the other 85% to do the rest of the work. And yeah, you're not going to be 1 versus 7ing. Seven. How do you know what? You get what I'm pointing at here. It's very hard, but you need to rely on your team. So, advice I'd say, if you want to win more, first of all, if you're on a bad streak, keep on playing. This is one thing I would suggest for anybody. Because I remember talking to one person, I'm not going to say their name because I don't really like to do that, but they kept saying how they would lose 10 games in a row and they're only going to play ratings now because of that. And I was like, first of all, if you're losing 10 games in a row, you're definitely doing something wrong. But second of all, if you're losing, you might as well keep playing. If you're losing 10 games in a row and you're at a 0% win rate, that means it's so easy to raise your win rate. All you got to do is win like 15 games and then maybe you lose 5 and you're back up to 50%. That's it, or at least 40%. And that's if you were at a 0%. You've already managed to raise it up 40%. So it's not very hard to raise win rate. It's hard to raise it past 70%, it's past 60%, but raising win rate to at least 50% is not hard at all. And while it can be tricky to do well in the game, this is my bit of advice for you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. This is something that I wanted to say, that if you're struggling with teams, you're not alone. But the best way to deal with them is just to keep on going until you manage to get a good rate, or a good run. Hopefully all of you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Helps set the channel a crazy amount, especially if you want to see more videos like this on little tips and tricks I personally use to get my stats boosted and stuff like that. But hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.